Let me say a very special good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Power 102 Digital. It's Power 102 Digital Friday. On a Friday, we host the Single Fathers Association, and today we have a program with the theme today, the topic today, the Single Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago Outreach Week. So let me say hi and a very special good afternoon to Rondell Fields. So I'll allow him to introduce his guest or guests.
Hi, good afternoon again, always, David. Um,
Yeah.
Drew, if you could mute your mic, man, you guys mute your mic for the while. We let you guys know when to unmute. Drew, if you can mute your mic too. Good afternoon, David. It's been a little while. We took a little break last week.
Yes.
A couple of the guys abroad. And, from week on, week in, week out, we have been reaching out there, doing outreach in different ways, talking about a number of topics since the beginning of the culmination of the show. This week, once again, ever so often, we bring dads in for what we consider the outreach week. When we bring dads in with their stories and we try to examine, first of all, what took place in the scenario and bring them to a solution. I want to most definitely thank these fathers for coming forward. We have two of them right now. I will tell you guys which one I'll go with first. I ask you guys to be patient while the other finishes. You could also chime in at some point in time as well. But we are grateful for you dads who have the courage to share your stories. Because what I always tell people, when you share your story, is not only helping you, there's somebody in a circumstance that is similar to yours. Now, you would think that, boy, I have nobody else in this world could be going through what I am going through. But there's always another person who, if they have not arrived at the position you are at right now, they are almost there. And they most definitely will need to hear or learn from what is being said. And once again, we want to thank Power 102 Digital for giving us this platform. It has now simplified the way that we can do outreach. It means that persons can look at the show live, or persons could come back to the show to get advice on pertinent information, whether it be custody, whether it be child maintenance. We've discussed issues when it comes to policy change, when it comes to things like paternity leave. We've discussed youth and criminality, a number of very, very, very pertinent topics that we know nearly every single man and even woman would be able to learn from. So today we have two cases with us, Dave, and we want to jump into the first one. I want to jump into Mr. Weeks' case first. I see Manny is still traversing, possibly home, so let's give Manny some time to possibly get there. And I want to start off with Mr. Weeks. And let Mr. Weeks welcome on one time. You can introduce yourself formally.
Good day. Blessed. Thanks for this. My name is Drew Weeks. I'm from Valencia.
Right.
I'm a single father of 10 years now.
Right. So, Mr. Weeks, first of all, let the people get an idea of how you became a single father in your scenario.
All right. Well, based on some birth control called Yasmin, it ended up affecting my common law wife with a tumor, and the tumor became cancerous. So from 2011, she passed away 2014.
Right.
So yeah.
So,
this year,
from 10 years. So your case, and this is for listeners as well, you realize most people think sometimes when you're a single father, it's always just a separation because mother and father have matrimonial issue or mother and father separated. We always stress on the issue where there are fathers in our country where they may have lost their wives due to some tragedy, some illness, some accident, something that would have taken place to take the life of their loved one. And from that point going forward, they would have taken up the mantle, taken up the responsibility, taken up the duty from then to weather the storm and do the dual parenting in their single parent form. So, first of all, I must say kudos to you, Mr. Weeks, I
Thanks
must
very much.
also say condolences to you. And before we go into your issue, I like to deal with other things as well socially. Since your wife has died, were you ever offered? I mean, you said it was a medical issue that you believe stemmed from a birth control pill that she was on. That possibly, I don't know if doctors made you aware afterward that is the cause of the death of the child. If she was in a public health facility as a single father, at any point in time, was there ever the offering from the healthcare system as a man who just lost his wife? Any counsel provided to you and your children?
No counseling, nothing provided, nothing even speculated, no form, no paperwork, no indication to say, well, let the father and the children get some type of counseling. It was never, it was never put on my table.
Right. So we're in a scenario here where a father tragically loses and a husband loses his wife. I'm pretty sure that was a daunting and a tragic experience. So you should give us some insight because, as I say, it's about sharing your story too. Because you may have some other father who just lost his wife as well. So give us a little insight because you're talking about nearly 10 years of experience that you would have gained without assistance. So give us a little experience as into some of the things you went through, how some of the coping mechanisms that you had to utilize. If you're at this point, you still feel that you still need a level of counsel, not dealing with nothing with financial support yet for the children. I'm talking about dealing with Drew, dealing with Mr. Weeks, dealing with the father of two children, dealing with the man who now lost his wife, dealing with that person. Give us our insight for the last 10 years, how you've been able to cope.
Well, you hit the nail a little tough, like I could say like you have a slight example of experience, but I don't know. But hear this. It ain't have a different feeling as in March 2014 when they announced she passed away. Till now, it's like I cancel me. I cancel me to ensure that I could see about these trends because I wouldn't like to tell you I was very suicidal.
I'm glad you be honest. Be honest. That's what we need.
It was something hitting me, and in terms of assistance, the NIS ended up having a thing called the Survival Benefit Fund. I didn't know about it because and God is good because it's not like a big financial salary, but it's a help. Right. So in terms of that, I get it like in the 11th month. So I was even unaware that it could have even be, but the feeling of you're complete in life is only reflecting through maturing because I have a son in PhD and I have a son going in Form 2. So I cancel my life. I don't know if I could explain that to somebody because I had 99 reasons to duck out. 99 to keep coming. I had 99 reasons to be an addict. I had 99 reasons to say, hey, these children have godparents, these children have aunts, these children. I had 99 reasons. Right? But sitting with myself, and I thank God I sit with myself because it's not to say like I in a position with auntie and sister and brother and grand. My children never leave me for 2 weeks. In this 10 years, I was never apart from my children for 2 weeks. Wow. So anybody who happens to be newly in my position, I dose a humbleness, I dose a prayer, and not only prayer, but you had to pray for the day because the suicidal thoughts used to come to me studying how I will make out next year, how I will make out month 10. So that is affecting me. So the prayer I want anybody to be who affected with anything, pray for the day, just get through the day.
And I love that advice. I love that advice, Mr. Weeks. And what people fail to realize, what you're saying is not an abnormal thing with men, because it has been statistically proven that in Trinidad and Tobago, 83% of the suicide victims are male. For the last 2 months, we've had almost 10 suicides by men and no action. Between 2019 to 2021, it started at that point where we saw just after COVID, as much as 80% of the suicide victims, those are about 256 men, killed themselves. And from 2021 to this point, it's increased from 80% to 83%. So I thank you for being real and showing that men are vulnerable and are placed in vulnerable situations and that they need assistance sometimes to get out of it. And even if you don't go for assistance as the advice you would have given, pray every day if that is what you need to do to get you through it. You understand? So I must thank you for that. I mean, that's why I said it was important for people to have a historical background of where you came to before we even go into the issue of what your issue is right now. To see that there are fathers like Mr. Weeks who mother died and have been taking the brunt on their shoulders. I know another father who's seen about 8 children in Diego Martin. The mother died of cancer also. Same scenario. These are men that we never hear about. We always hear about the deadbeat father. We always hear the story of the father who no good. We always hear about the father who don't do this. We always hear about the father who do that. These men, even though silently, they are fathers who have left with the responsibility, who I can attest to for years, sometimes before 2018, and I think it must start back happening now, have gone to social welfare, gone for assistance, and have been turned away because they are male. In 2018, we raised that with the father in Diego Martin with 8 children, where he was told for him to get a grant, he had to be injured.
Injured, yeah. They tell me that.
Well, you see, the same thing they told him. And he came back to me and said, Mr. Fields, I don't get in these kind of thoughts. Should I cut off my hand? So,
Yeah.
systemically, we have seen where we have abandoned the very same men who have stepped up, who we have told generally for fathers to step up. And those who have stepped up without even putting it out public, we have not supported them because of their gender. So I want to get into your story now, Mr. Weeks. You called me, actually a prison officer called me on your behalf, who you know.
Yep.
And he said, Fields, reach out to this man, talk to this man. This man, stories are story that need to be told. This man fighting and everything fighting him. Give me a history of what your current, not even a history. Give me your current position where it pertains to your living status.
I could get the quickest run from the years, right? Not only dealing with my common law wife death, I was dealing with my father's death. Right? While dealing with my father's death, now we went in a place 1992, and I went in a house, personal house to renovate. I reached roof right now. I turned 18 in that house, and I am going on 46 now. Right?
Wow.
So my father passed away 2010 October. My mother put me in court December.
Right. So let me mark break. So your father, you and your father, you went into a house that was possessed by your father.
I went in a house what was possessed by my father. My mother and father wasn't together, and they purchased a property with 2 houses on it. So I was occupying one.
Right. So your mother and father, they weren't together.
They weren't together.
Right.
They weren't together. No.
He purchased a property with 2 houses on it.
2 houses.
Right. Continue.
I turned 18 in the house. A protection order come 2 months after dealing with my father death. I in court. That's the first time I ever attend court.
Wow. As soon as your father dies.
My father died October. I in court this December the 6th.
2010.
2010, same year.
Right.
The magistrate ain't waste time. The magistrate gets straight to the point. Ma'am, why is your name not on the property? So is the case. it can't go no further. Sure enough.
Right. So the protection order, not the protection order, eviction order, she try or protection order? Protection order.
She tried protection order 2010.
And this is your mother.
This is my biological mother.
Mother.
She name on my birth paper.
All right, good.
Right? Dealing with a cancer patient in my house because I had to see about my wife. I had to see about her because she wasn't. It's something. I acknowledge with it. It's something she never experienced, so she didn't know to deal with it.
Yeah,
until we get good advice to join St. James.
Okay. All right.
But I was the person who was cleaning and making sure I changing the gauze and whatever because the tumor cancerous I dealing with that. So that is 2012 I dealing with this matter. We dealing with this matter 2012.
Wow.
2014 she didn't live long. She didn't live long. Right?
Yeah.
She didn't live long with it, right? And then boom, 2019 and next protection order summons reached by me again. We reach back in court again. First, second, the third time that we produced some documents. Well, I had a little something to say. Well, all right. So I get a lawyer, which is a good lawyer in Grandy.
Right.
Same issue. The magistrate asks, ma'am, why it is your name not on the certificate of title? But in this case now, she come in court and she using my father's surname.
Right. Your deceased father, who she was never married to.
Never. I have a little brother and I have a little sister carrying different surnames. I don't know my mother and father in no relations. I don't know. I have a brother 5 years younger than me and I have a sister 9 years younger than me. I don't know my mother and father in relations. As he say, he just come to do a little business thing to get a place for me to live. He make sure and explain that. Yeah, he make sure and he explain that.
So when your father died, he left any will or testament or anything?
Right. Even though she's saying he leave a will, thank God, and God is good. And financially, I wasn't really able, but I was able 11 months ago to probate the will. So I'm waiting on the grant right now.
Right. Beautiful.
So the witness, everything straight, the signatures, everything was straight, and it get to probate. Right. So in
the will, your father, based on what you're saying, it is alleged that in the will, your father left the property to yourself and your brother and sister.
My two other sisters.
Your two sisters.
You only have 3 children.
Okay.
It state in the estate of his thing. So it having a little hiccup, but it could solve because they never transfer.
From the original owner.
The deed from the original, the person who sell them.
I understand.
So the purchase agreement could stand to show, well, this is what transpired.
Okay. Well, that is our defense issue for the court to determine. But the issue here is that your mother that was never married to them was never married to him, able, even though you say that there's a will saying that the house was left by your deceased father for you and your sisters to have you evicted.
Yeah, evicted.
Explain to me.
Right. So 2019, when the protection order throw for the same reason, she go and she take out a ejectment, whatever let us call it. We went to court for that, but this time I went and applied for legal aid.
Right.
So when we reach in the court now, she presents some receipts and the lawyer saying how I renting an apartment from my mother. I never rent in my life. So I apply and I get the copy. So I have the copies here. No form of my signature, nothing. It's receipts they make and the GJP sign it in such a way, whatever. But that is the matter at hand with that.
Right.
So I have no document from the court and now apply for the extract of everything. So the time of 14 working days I will receive it. I have no paperwork from no magistrate, no judge stating that I have to leave where I'm living.
Were you summoned to court to appear for a hearing of a matter of any nature, or was an
Yes.
order made in ex parte?
Mm, it-
Ex parte means that you were not present, but an order was made for your eviction, or order was made when, and you were not called to answer, or you did
a,
not
a,
appear to answer.
a order was made for the ejectment. I went in the court. I'm waiting on the legal aid lawyer that I was supposed to have for that day. And I just seeing how a trial is, I wasn't in a trial because they leave me and they go in a back room, they talk, they say whatever, and they come out and they state something like, Mr. Weeks, you is a tenant of something, an apartment of something.
Tenant
I
at
tell him,
will.
yeah, tenant at will. I say, Your Honor, what that mean? He say, well, you're renting from your mother and you're unable to pay the rent. I said, I never rent in my life. When they call the name of the place is Ramgoli Village, I say I not live in Ramgoli Village. I live in Kangali Village.
So that different address as well.
Right. So what upon police coming and going, a bailiff came. He's the only person out of everybody show me the document he come with.
Right.
Something of in trial case of so a ejectment was given unto Drew Weeks on Yvonne Robinson property at Rangoli Village. So I say, excuse, how you reach here? I not live in Rangoli Village.
Right. So they did not go back to get it corrected. I remember in a matter of a friend of mine, when they came with an ex parte order against him. When the address was wrong, they couldn't have moved anything from the property. They had to go back to get it corrected. In this case, did they do that?
Nothing corrected, nothing handled. That's a gangster mentality.
So
I come outside, I show them look my name on the WhatsApp bill. I hand them a copy of the certificate of title. The policeman pulled me square to tell me, hey, I believe you in him. But you have to comply and then complain. I say, so why I have to comply and complain when complying is going on the side of the road with my children?
So everything that you had in your house was placed in the street.
Everything I own was placed on the side of the road.
And you said you're living there for almost the last about 26 years, you say?
I went in the property. I went in the property in 1992.
1992, the date.
1992 August, and I turned 18 now in the said house where they come. They open my door. I film them. They open my door. I tell them, I say, hey, you can't go in my place. They open my door, right? Only for them to turn around and tell me they don't have no documents to give me. They have no copies to give me. So I say, I need something. I could find a cheap lawyer and I will present it to the lawyer and the lawyer could give me advice. But they come with a comply and a complaint to the point where I asked for the names, I received the names. My mother come with 3 workers. Right? I asked my mother and all for a document from the court. Nothing at hand. I have nothing in my hand to show.
So you have not, since they move and put your stuff outside, they said the bailiff show you something. Was that an order, eviction order?
Nah, it look like an order of eviction. It looked like when you go through the court or some kind of thing and like she went for extract. It looked to me like an extract she went for.
Right. But have you gotten before the legal aid lawyer yet to take and examine any kind of document? So they didn't leave no document with you in the first place. Nothing.
I have no document. I walk out the court with my hands swinging. I went back. When I turned around to come back, I say, Your Honor, I'm not living on that address. Here what the magistrate tells she. This address is your place. She said that is she place. That is where she own.
Right. But
she have no.
But take me back to the matter you're referring to in court. On that day, did you hear the judge make any order that you were to leave, you were to be removed, or you gave you a number of days to leave the premises?
No,
anything?
Nothing.
So then on
Nothing.
what base, I am trying to figure out on what base they were able to remove you.
Policeman say your mother satisfied the magistrate that she's the owner.
Right. But was that in your presence, or is he saying he referred that was another time, another court hearing?
That same police officer came by me about 4 times.
Hmm.
So I reached in the police station now because one of the officers come in I think this officer come in I think 2021. So I went down in the station and I make a report to how he approached me.
Hmm.
So this is a sergeant explaining to me now that apparently a mother applied for eviction of apartments. I say I not renting, I never rent. And I
Right.
take a loan from
Right.
Habitat for Humanity. So I
Wow.
show them my documents, what I have,
To
because
get
they
the
ain't
loan
giving
with
me a
that.
loan. They ain't giving you a loan just so.
I understand. So they
I
give
went
you
to
the
Habitat.
loan to do repairs on the property, Habitat Humanity.
I use that. Right now I am presently paying back that loan and I'm not in the place.
Wow. How long they move you out of the place now?
July the 31st, the day before Emancipation Day.
July the 31st. And
Yeah.
from then to now, it means you and your sons are no longer in the home that they're born and they grow in, no longer
No,
in the
no,
space that you would have spent money
no.
on to
They're
get to the
confused.
position that it is right now.
They're confused. The children and them confused. I'm not saying that just for somebody to hear that, but people need to know how it does be. Right now, my children displaced.
And I could understand the confusion because in the end of the day, right? Because in the end of the day, they lost their mother. They
Yeah,
struggled for a period. Now they come
yeah,
and they lost their house. So
yeah,
at the end of the day, I could understand the calamity that these children are facing, who are the grandsons of this very said lady.
yeah.
I say we don't know I can't say because I don't know the exact proceedings that took place in the court.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I have to advise you, as I say, you have a legal aid lawyer. Are you thinking that do you think the person is seeking your interest? Have you met with them? Have you have they?
I feel abandoned because the day before trial of that, she was explaining to me. I gave she copies of everything I have. She was explaining to me,
Yeah,
get the will probated, this, that, from what you have here. The woman, Miss Amy, something is she name. She said, based on what you have here, your mother cannot put you out from that property because she's not the owner. It was good and
yeah.
gold. The day now, about 7 o'clock in the morning, she called me and telling me she unable to come. So
So
I just find it was 50.
right. So
I
seeing
just
that
find
she was unable to come, she didn't send another lawyer in her stead to have the
no,
magistrate adjourn the matter. She didn't send, so she
nobody.
just left it unrepresented then.
He just left me unrepresented, as you say.
This is very unfortunate, boy. And the magistrate or the master, whoever it was before, knowing, did you make known to the magistrate or master that your lawyer said she couldn't be here today?
I told him that.
And
Is
this,
is
Mhm.
let me tell you something. I know if it's a test I get in test, I feeling it. It's a
Mhm.
whole heap of misfortunes coming my way. And remember, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not into the judicial knowledge or whatever.
Right,
So
right,
when it happened now, a lawyer now telling me go and appeal. All
right.
right. Time for me to appeal now. I went to an ex-prison officer now, Tilak Singh. So when I
Okay.
reach by him now, he's scanning the whole situation to see well what is going on. And I explained to him, I said, even the address, what she win is now where I live in. He said, well,
Right.
then you don't need to appeal. I said, how you mean I don't need to appeal? He said, you don't need to appeal. So even the appeal will come and even follow through.
Either.
Either police come and it's like they don't want to stay because one telling one, well, we had to try and sort out this address thing. And he telling the good ones just come, the bad ones just come. So when
So
I
yes.
explained to the warrant
Mhm.
man now, let me see what you bring here. He ain't showing me. He telling me about some letter and some web. I said, no, I want to see what you have because a bailiff was just here because that was the 31st and the bailiff was there about the 26th. I say, and the bailiff showing me a piece of document stating Ramgoli village. He said I could always be corrected. I say, yeah, but I feel it should be corrected first and then
So
call
it's
it.
supposed to be corrected first. You understand? And then they return. The thing, but I'm guessing that you're peacefully vacated and you didn't make no real issue. You understand?
Because the only reason why I say because I don't want to add no more trauma to my children. I do have a backup. I don't have
Correct.
to see
Correct.
my children to go by the aunt and I go give them a fight. And I live in a place called Valencia. If you type it up on Facebook, I had neighbors end up in the system and it's good people who just happen to tell a police officer a wrong thing. So I tell them humbly as the police say complied and complain, but it ain't feel good. It ain't feel legal. That is what I tell them. I say I know all they're doing all the thing, but it's not feeling legal. Because it must have a different way to approach this. They could have hand me something, telling me, well, this is for you. This is to show that your mother is the owner of the property, this, that, the other. You have 20 days to vacate, blah, blah, blah. Nothing like that. Nothing. She going down saying that my father passed away. He ain't make no will, so I can't come with no letter. If I have no letters of administration, so my father dead and everything with he, dead with he. That is what she said.
But the thing that is troubling me with that is that she's not his married wife. I'm not sure if they'll, based on what you're saying, if you never saw them live together, I am not sure if she accrued even common law status.
Well, let me tell you how much fortunes. I mean, right? I was paying my mother because I was cleaning my father. He was home. I was cleaning him. He could not make. Every time I cleaning him out, he crying and he getting on. So I organize now and I pay my mother to come and just clean him. Minor thing, I cooking and doing everything. All she had to do is come and clean him up. I go throw away the utensil and right. So with all that being said, my mother, I was them days I wakain and I ain't working for nobody. I wakain. When my father passed away, I was wakain a yard. My mother take it upon herself. My mother take it upon herself to go and put Yvonne Robinson register common law wife.
Wow.
All right, so she go and she do that. My father had 3 children now, so she go on to look for the same thing I receiving, some survival benefit. But little do she know that NIS does come with a fine teeth comb and you have to get 2 letters. You had to get 2 letters, affidavit sworn. So she can't get the letter sworn from none of my father's children because they wasn't living together. And on top of that now, she's gone and signed for either saying it's racket and fraud. I feeling it have a little bit of fraud to play here. But she was unaware that when she signed in 99 Eastern Main Road. She living there for over 17 years. And my father lived in Kangali village. So she was looking for common law status and they wasn't even sharing the same property together or the same house.
But you know if she got that survivor's grant? You ever know if she was able to get it or she never got it?
I don't feel she get it.
All right, I understand.
Because they just give you 12 months to acquire it, and I hear she mentioned that I went and report she to NIS. I never do that. You don't need to report to NIS. Them have the documents in hand. It's like a fine teeth comb. You ain't just go in and say you was common law and it was just so and just so. I went through a little predicament. I received my survival benefit fund on the 11th month.
So tell me, Mr. Weeks, right? What do you see in the future when school start back, when the time start to progress, as the year move forward? If you are not allowed back into the home that you would have spent so much time with your children, that you would have invested in financially, which are things I find is so strange. And as I say, I don't have all the facts of the matter, but I
Yeah.
say it sounds so strange that a magistrate or a master would make such an order, knowing of the dependents that there and knowing the length of time that you would have resided there. So
Well,
what you see going forward in the future? I know
well,
you're working, as I said, they do the probate and you're working on those things. What do you see if those things
um,
don't come to fruition right now? What is your next plan going forward? September
right
coming
now,
right there, school coming around.
right now I'm praying. Here what I'm praying for. I'm praying for somebody to come and at least legally assist with some advice. They are praying for that
Right.
because financially it's like 20,000 you have to find and this kind of thing, right? As I tell
Mhm.
you, adapting the day-to-day process,
Right.
I find like I put it to my children too, right?
Right.
So don't know daddy go cook some food today. We go eat
Right.
some food and tomorrow, please the Lord, we go find our next way and school will open. And if even you type in my children and them name in the system, they don't
Mm.
have no absent above absent like a normal child will get a cold or
I
something
understand.
happen. My son fall off the bike. The present in school, I'm
Mm.
making sure to that. So by as I tell you, I just praying. I just want to get down. I just want to get down to this because as I say, I not on no malice with nobody. This is my
Understood.
mother. This is reason why I never really portray to go and do this. I need to do this now to defend my children. But
I
it's my
understand.
mother at the end of the day. Everybody wouldn't get a good parent. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, the Bible tell you respect them, honor
I
them.
understand.
But I need this. I need somebody who could come and I show them all my documents. I'm waiting on the extract from the court. I want to know what it is she produced to the magistrate. I would like to
Correct.
hear. I would like to get the audio. So my main concern is just to hear that case, why it wasn't in my favor.
Correct.
And all the
Correct.
time it was in my favor because they acknowledge that she's not the owner of the property, this, that, the other. Even
Correct.
as
So
you
you want to see
mentioned,
where it went different.
why when they ask me now how long I've been there, they even ask her if that is the same house that I went in. She said no, because it cannot be. When I went in there was a piece of board by a piece of concrete and a piece of BRC. When breeze
Hmm.
blow it out in the stove.
Hmm.
So I tell them I
Correct.
buy 2 pallet of blocks.
Correct. So you would have
Sweet talk a
invested.
partner.
You would have invested in the compound, invested in the
Yes,
property. Nobody
yes,
even
like
discussed anything on compensation of the sorts,
no,
anything.
no, no.
So what I will do, Mr. Weeks, is here as an advisor as well, get the extract that I'm glad to hear you're working on. Also
I went
advise that
and
they get
wait
the
on there
transcript.
everything.
You get the transcript. So if you say you wasn't there, or if something passed that I didn't hear, that you have the audio and the written version of
Yeah,
what took place at the court.
yeah,
What I will
yeah,
do more so than anything else, I will speak to one of the attorneys who works closely with us, Mr. Jason Jones. I will
yeah.
see if he will allow you to come to his office. I'm pretty
I
sure he's that kind of
appreciate.
guy when he sees situations like this. He will try his best to assist in any way. If he could come and even if it starts where he said, boy, give a word of advice, give a hearing. If he decides to assist further, I mean, I can't give it a commitment yet. I know these
Yeah,
guys sometimes when they see a matter, they just, now boy feels, this touch my heart, I could do it. Or I could do it at
I,
a reduced cost, or I could do that
I
at whatever.
appreciate.
So
I
this particular
appreciate.
matter, I will I will share his number with you. And when I come off, I will speak to him so that possibly you could go down to his office or have a meeting with him, whether it's via Zoom, present your documentation, present what happened to where it is. And he is very, very thorough. So I
Yeah,
know he will then start to go into what happened, what took place at that
yeah,
point in time to truly try to assist you and your sons. And I mean, I must commend you continuously, consistently, for still keeping a, as much as possible, positive outlook on life. Because
yeah,
you're talking about loss of life, loss of father, loss of trust when it come between you and your mother, and now loss of your home. So
Yeah.
I understand the physical, I mean, blow that you've received. I will also reach out. I know in the central division here. I will reach out to the victim and witness support unit. We have a good relationship where it comes to counselors and see if there's persons in your area that they could refer to at least do a little counsel session with you, with the boys and them.
Yeah.
Figure out where their
Yeah.
mind
Yeah.
is. Make
That's
sure that they're
deeply
okay.
appreciated.
Because at this point in time, God forbid, we see young boys doing things that taking their life. God forbid. You understand? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I would really also, I would commit to that as well, reaching out to Miss Corby in the Central Division and see if she would be able to reach out to one of her counterparts on your end to at least come in, do a little counsel session, a few of them if possible, if you guys have to go to her and have a conversation to deal with the amount of loss that you guys have succumbed to for the last few years. I
Yeah.
want you I want you, I mean, to continue to remain positive as you are, continue to stay in contact. I will continue to follow up with you. I mean, as I said, I'm going to send it to Jason. We're going to try to get to the bottom of what took place in the matter that led to you being evicted out of a house. You've been there so long.
Yeah.
Possibly you could take a look at the documents when it comes to and you could inform him of how far you went when it comes to probate and these kind of things, so that he could really kind of give you a guidance, because I think that is what you need more now than anything. A
Yeah.
guidance of a way forward as into what is your rights, what is your next step forward, is a appeal is a appeal the way to go, is what is your next step forward when it comes to you getting repossession of the property, or even if
Yeah.
not repossession, getting compensation that is
Yeah.
meaningful for the
Yeah.
time, the money, the effort that you would have put out during this period. So, Mr. Weeks, I thank you for joining us here today.
Yeah.
We will continue to be
Blessing.
we will be continue to be in communication. I thank you for not only highlighting your own issue, but sharing your experience, your testimony of strength and hope for other men who may have lost their wives and have
It's
children, and finding it hard to maneuver this
a
part
test.
of their life.
It's a test.
We thank you so much, my brother. So, I
Yeah.
mean, on behalf of us from the Single Parent Association, we want to wish you and your sons a good evening, a good weekend, and we will continue to remain in contact. And I mean, eventually we will update the people based on your scenario and your case. Right?
Yeah.
There's a,
Thanks
there's a,
very much.
yeah,
Thanks
All
there's
a
a,
right, brother.
million.
Have a nice day.
Right?
there's a,
You have a
there's a
blessed
comment
day.
here.
You
Yeah,
too.
there's a
Yeah.
comment here from a Jude Can who says, a sad case. Hope someone from agency hears this very informative case. So let's hope that people who can help are listening.
Correct. We hope so. I mean, and if you have any sound advice, or you're an attorney and you want to assist as well, reach out to me. I'll reach out to him. I'll put you in contact with him after I speak to you. Because I mean, we want somebody, and we want somebody who will be committed, somebody who will be determined, somebody that will be passionate, somebody that will be considerate, somebody that will truly give a fair hearing to Mr. Weeks and the scenario and the case that he is enduring at this point in time. So, Mr. Weeks, once again, thanks for the love, thanks for the
Blessed.
strength. Enjoy your day and enjoy
Just,
your weekend. We will continue to
just
remain
give me,
in contact.
let's give me 1 second.
You go
Right?
right ahead.
I want to. Anybody, and I'm saying this with the deepest of deepest, anybody going through my scenario, worse than my scenario, take it as a test. Because let's be honest with yourself and your children, because it was I had my children from 3 years old and 6. And just be real with your children. It might seems like you're giving them a little too much big people stuff to hear, but just be real with that is what I do. I don't know if I don't want to say I don't know if it go work out with everybody, but I feel it go work out with the majority. Just explain to your children your position, because my children so humble, like them bringing that frustration, them bringing that. I'm talking about since small, the ironing, you're frightened, you're watching them, you want to know if they go burn themselves. Since the
Hmm.
small, they're going to boil a little water. No, I know the best of the best to say I had, so they're eating the little pack soup and the little rice and butter. You
Hmm.
understand? But the boiling the
True.
rice, they make it. So I just saying, and I don't want nobody to go through what I go through. I don't want nobody, but I just saying in the case of if it do happen,
Hmm.
keep a day by day focus, and that's still with me. So if even you're telling me about when school open, I
Hmm.
carried so
Every
far.
time
Sorry to
tired.
say, I carry it will just I won't sleep tonight. So
I
it
understand.
there, it there because just and another thing too is not sabotage, but take off a little off of yourself, deprive yourself for your children. Deprive
Hmm.
yourself. Deprive yourself for your children and your environment.
Hmm.
So I went had no Tom, Dick, and Harry visiting me. It does feel strange, but I don't have that. You
Hmm.
deprive yourself of certain environment, deprive yourself of certain people,
Hmm.
and as I just do, sometimes I just say, well, when they reach 18 to 20, I go try and live. Me,
Yeah,
I
okay,
go try
like
that.
you said. Yeah,
I go try
yeah.
it. I go try it. So, Mr. Fields, thanks a million.
Anytime. Anytime,
No
brother. Your
malice,
story is one.
no malice with me, no malice in
Correct.
my part. God is the master. If there's a test, I just want to say, well, I, I want to tell God I'm getting too much. I'm getting a lot. I want to tell him that. Thanks a million for your
Big bro, thanks
platform.
for coming on. Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing. And as I say, this
yeah,
is not the end. This is just the beginning. You know, we
yeah.
we linking up on and off this medium, but I think your story was important to share so that people understand the hardships that many are father going through in Trinidad and Tobago. So thanks again for that,
Thanks a
Mr. Wee.
million.
We'll
Yes,
stay in contact, right?
you're welcome. Yeah,
All right, brother.
okay.
Um, Mark,
Yes, sir.
yes, my brother.
Hmm.
Before we go to the next dad, we're going to deal with Manny from Tobago, and he also has a very, very, very critical story that I think needs to be put out there. I know many people may also be in a similar story, unfortunately. So, I mean, before that, though, you know, we got some voice notes this week, and we welcome people to call in if you want to call in. Eh? If you want to call in and encourage the fathers, they want to call in and share sentiment, man, woman, anything. That number to call is 222-8255. And number again, 222-8255, or leave your messages on the Facebook platform. Send some love if you want to send love. We do appreciate these fathers and the way they're coming to share their testimonies and their experiences so that we could get to, I mean, ventilate and explain more so than anything, and educate those who may be in similar scenarios or just for edification purpose, because you never know what lies in your near or distant future. So, Mark, let's get voice note number one. Because what we decided to do, a couple of the voice notes that we got during this week, we just want to share some, you know, especially in those cases with the ones that we think are the most familiar or the most common, because we think by the time we address those, we have addressed many a person's issue. So let's say here voice note one.
Okay. Before I get into that, let me just expand on how people can reach out to us. We are also
Great.
streaming live on YouTube, so you can send your messages directly to the studio via YouTube or Facebook, whichever media or virtual platform you're using to connect with us on this Single Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago program every Friday. We have a toll free number also. The number is 866-525-1099. So you can reach us at 866-525-1099 or 222-8255. 222-8255. Okay, I see a caller is trying to get in on the program here. Let's see.
All right, let's go.
Good afternoon, caller.
Very much.
Hi, how you going, my brother?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good.
And good afternoon to the good gentleman. Please forgive me, sir. Last time
Field,
we spoke,
Field. Good afternoon.
Rondell Fields.
this Sir Cecil. How you going? God bless you,
I'm good.
man.
I'm good.
Good. I had called in earlier. Accidentally did what I call a batal to Daddy Mac, but I had intention to call anyway to find out what is the itinerary for today. And just from the bit I've been listening to off the air, I just want to say, sir, again, sir, God bless you for what you're doing. You know,
Appreciate that.
International Year the Woman, yeah, International Year the this, the that. What about the International Year for the fathers, man? You know, but you, sir, it seems you like John the Baptist in the wilderness out there.
Boy, it's not easy.
Trying to let them know, single fathers need love too, not only thugs, right?
Correct. And I'm glad you make message of that. Do you know on the United Nations calendar, we have International Men's Day on the November the 19th that was founded by Dr. Jerome Tiloxing of Trinidad and Tobago. And on the United Nations calendar, they have refused to acknowledge that date and decided on the very same day to celebrate World Day of the Toilet. So that should let you know the value men have in this world.
But it just goes to show you, Daddy Mac could tell you how I stand. I am not extreme left, extreme right, or anything like that, but I normally say the UN should really stand for usually nothing useful. That's what the UN should stand for. Because that is the same country that puts on the table for women's rights. They put in countries like Iraq and countries like, you know, Cuba and all kind of things for human rights. Are you kidding me? But anyway, no, I just want you to know that I lived and I fled the crumbling Empire State in New York, and when I was based just outside McGill Airport, I was based in Tampa Bay, and I was moving to New York. All right, but I'm no longer in New York. Thank goodness I left the Empire State. But do you know, sir? Somebody said to me, "When you say you're going where? To live in where? New York? Where? By the way, the United Nations right there too. Where? So anyway, you know what is the you know what is the food chain up there in New York? Here's what it is: child, woman, dog, cat, and laboratory rat too. Right? You hear man anywhere in that lineup? Of course not. And that's the same United Nations who encouraging the nonsense you see happening in Paris with this Olympics, right? where they're desecrating my Christian faith, whether you're Catholic or whatever, right?
Correct.
You know, they would dare not. You know, we have a saying in the Caribbean, monkey know a tree to climb, right?
Correct.
So let them go and do something with Ahmed's religion and do the nonsense they did during the opening ceremony. Boys would be burning, and half of them wouldn't have any next left. But anyway, but I just wanted to say that it's really, this is an attack. They think because, and as you know, in the crumbling in the ununited states of America, ununited, because here we are, the struggle we facing here right now, right, is that there is an attack on the male, on the man, on the male figures, right, alpha males, okay? And when I have a Supreme Court judge who can't even, when she was being vetted to go on the Supreme Court bench, they ask her, "Can you define a woman?" You know what her answer was? I can't answer that question because I'm not a physician. This is the crazy world we living in. But anyway, I don't want to digress, but it's very relevant, sir. It's very, very relevant. Because what we are seeing now is the demasculization of the alpha male, and they're trying to tell you to, you know, that telling the nonsense about, oh, it have more than 2 sexes, 3 and more. Correct. You understand? So it's all relevant. I ain't going off topic. Tell me if I am. I'm going to shut up.
No. Yeah, you ain't going off topic at all. Because I mean, it pitches to the issue as well. Remember, we're doing outreach today, so it's open talk today on every topic. You understand? And really and truly, it has translated even to the way that we've educated I am on the telecommunication board, and I can tell you that before I got there, it was only ICT for girls, and there ICT for this, ICT only for females. Where it came to ICT literacy, where we see the world is going, everything you could do on a cell phone. So to become literate in ICT is important for boys and girls. And we would have seen that there were only programs coming out for girls. Even when you talk about leadership, when you talk about empowerment and leadership, the programs coming out when it comes to leadership are for girls. And we are abandoning boys. Hence the reason the gang leader now has a bigger fish pool to fish in, because we have created less positive spaces for young men to filter into, because, as you have suggested, we have purposely tried to suppress the male from this adolescent stage.
Well, you are such a diplomat. I will use the word demasculinize or mentally castrate the male. You understand? Because that is what they're doing.
Correct.
And here with all the transgender nonsense. Look at this. They're letting two men right now going up for the Olympic boxing title, calling themselves woman. Okay? So they say it's okay for a man to. I mean, if them two fellas, when 50 years from now, or even 100 years, 300 years from now, you dig up the graves, they will still be down to the bone marrow, still be what they were born, a man. So what they are saying, I am saying you can't have your cake and eat it too. In the sense of talking about equal rights for women and all that kind of thing, right? But here's something. It's okay for you to say today, I'm a woman today, and go ahead and beat the living daylights out of a woman in the boxing ring. It's okay. But Sean Puffy Combs, right? I mean, maybe he should have worn a dress when he did that. And then he says it's okay too. Because Williams is right. I mean, but what he's saying, so as I'm saying, you know, man, God bless you. And you know something, Trinidad, but it's relevant. I'll tell you something. You know, if you don't know your rights in this town, or you don't have the resources, that is the system will take advantage of you. So, you know, Mr. C's, God bless you, because
appreciate it.
Individuals like you and institutions like yourself, they are for the small man who don't have the resources to fight for himself. Ask Brent Thomas, a lion? Anyway, gentlemen, you all have a great day. God bless you.
Thanks for calling, man. Thanks for calling. We welcome the callers all the time. Mark, you wanna play that voice note now?
Yes, I'll play it now.
That's right. I will try not to keep it too long, but good morning. Some guidance, right? I will try not to keep it too long, but presently I pay $1,200 a month on maintenance. Based on the settlements, we go half. Besides that, we go half on like medical, half on extracurricular activities, half on lessons, right? But what is considered too much? Like if you want to join him in like one sport, then join him in the next sport and another sport, is that too much? Is that excessive, unreasonable? How do you consider what is reasonable and unreasonable in the eyes of the court? Also, his lessons, right? I'm paying for lessons now, and she's joining him on another lessons. But the thing is, that the money that I'm paying is for one child. All right, we just have one child together. But I also have another child. I have a 1-year-old daughter, and she needs attention to monetary wise. So what is considered too much? Because if I'm giving all my funds to one child, but I had to sacrifice what my other child can receive because there's a court order, what is considered too much and what is considered reasonable, considering I have another child that I need to see about as well. I don't know if I get some guidance in regarding that now.
Okay, that's voicemail number.
All right. So I mean,
So what is
Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
So in that particular scenario, I would advise the person sending the voice note there. Well, you have the court order. Some court orders stipulate extracurricular expenses or include extracurricular expenses if it was brought before the court, if evidence of it was brought before the court and a decision was made. In the case, based on the fact that he's asking what is reasonable, it seems that there is a standard court order, which is about 1,200. He seems to be paying for one child, and then there's extracurricular added on to that. And he is apparently trying to ascertain, is it everything that the custodial parent brings that I have to pay for? Firstly, I don't know the scenario if they were married or they were an unmarried couple. If you have joint custody, or even if you were unmarried and you have what they call obtaining your parental rights, you have to be included when it comes into decision making. So if it's gymnastics, if it's swimming, if it's whatever, the thinking of the court would be that you all would be able to come to a decision together to say, hey, one, this is something that we think is beneficial to the child because based on the child's talent or the child's desire. And secondly, this is something that we can afford.
That is on the phone store, right?
So at the end of the day, man, if you could just mute, right? So if these are things that must be taken in consideration if it isn't stipulated. I understand his sentiment where, all right, I don't know his salary, 1,200 may already be a burden on his salary. We don't know. You're not talking about you paying $1,200 for one child. The belief is that both parties are contributing most times equally towards the upkeep of the child if both parties are able to do so. If it's a scenario like that, then we are actually saying that this child is being maintained on $1,200 from mommy, $1,200 from daddy, which is $2,400 a month.
Stand by, folks. Seem like we have a little glitch in the internet system here. Rondell is sort of frozen for now, so hold on. Let's see how long he stays before he
You
comes
guys
back.
then?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm
Go
back.
ahead. Yes, you're back. Yeah.
All right. So as I was saying, it is, I don't know where you all go when I dropped off, but I'm saying at $1,200, if 1,200, the non-custodial parent is ordered to pay $1,200, we'd like the understanding to be that the mother contribute, if she can, or it's proven that she financially can, cover 50% of the cost. In some scenarios, they may say the father may be more gainfully employed, so that he covers 60%, mommy covers 40%. I don't know what is the decision factor in that particular case, but however, when it comes to those extracurriculars that may not have been stipulated by a court order, both parties are supposed, the intent is supposed to be that you can discuss. I know he did send later correspondence to me where he said it's hard for him to be able to co-parent because he's often blocked, and then when receipts sent, unblocked, and then blocked again. So it's just the unblocking to send him the receipts and then tell him pay for this. That is not how this should work. It's not how it's supposed to work. The decision is supposed to be made by mother and father because it impacts mother and father. Whether it is somebody has to pick up the child, somebody has to drop off the child, who's doing that, whether it is the payment for whatever extracurricular activity it is. He made a very pertinent point that whereas the mother may have one dependent, he has two. And the second dependent does not deserve any less of upkeep because that child isn't before the court. The court should never put the parent in a financial position when the other child that is in the residential home, who is a dependent just as well, is left without just to facilitate the extracurricular needs of the other child. That should never stand. If it does stand, worthy advice is to you to return to the court, apply for variation of the order, or if it is a situation where you want something with the extracurricular set in our order, apply to for variation in the order to have that done if you have to. Or where it stands presently, if you're contributing in a manner that you think most, you sit back and wait for her to put you back in court if she decides she wants to send the child to 2 similar lessons. Let's say the child is in SCA and you're already paying lessons for mathematics and creative writing. And then all of a sudden she decides, hey, what's going on? I want lessons from 2 separate teachers in the same subjects. I believe it is sensible for the non-custodial parent to say, hey, what, we can't have both. It makes no sense. We must choose one out of the better. One, because I cannot most likely financially provide that money because I have other dependents as well. There's nothing wrong with that. If somebody wants to take you back to court to that, let them take you back to court. You prove your point that my situation is 2 dependents and I cannot leave the second child undone because I'm being brought before the court for one particular child where I am made to expend a vast amount of my income to make that child happy and leave the other child to suffer. No magistrate, no master, no judge should have that level of bias where they let one child suffer and the other child. If they have that bias, come and look for me. I will send you for a transcript if they make a ridiculous order so, and I will treat with the matter. Because we must be fair, we must be equitable, we must be unbiased when treating with these 2 issues. Particularly when the payment being made to one dependent could grossly affect the other dependent who is a child and who is dependent and who is just as much deserving as the other. Right? So let's get to Manny from Tobago. I know I spoke to Manny from Tobago. Manny reached out to Siobhan up to yesterday. I know Manny, was at the station in Tobago trying to treat with his issue. And Manny, you could come on camera now. Can you come on camera?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Manny. Give us your full name for the camera for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and let's get into the story and the issues you've been having for the past few years.
Few years from the birth of my daughter, which my daughter is 7, she's going to be 8.
Right.
So my name is Seth Koshi. I reside in Tobago, but I'm originally a Trinidadian, born in Trinidad.
Right.
So it's been a long fight. I've been in and out of court for the last 7 going on 8 years, and still in court all now. Over 26 different matters concerning the same child.
How old is the child, Manny?
She's 7. She's going to be 8.
How old is this child? 20 something matter.
She's 7. She's 7. She's going to be 8 in October.
Right. And within that space of time, you've seen the court, you say you think approximately 20 something times. So I'm guessing your initial journey to the court was what? Custody. What was the issue? Was it somebody you married?
No, I was never married. The individual had their person, and the person was away for some time, and we kind of messed around, and a child came out of it.
Right.
She wasn't sure whether or not the child was mine, yes or not. So we just agreed.
Have you ever done a paternity test?
Yes, that was one of the things that was done, and even after the paternity test was done and the court ordered to have my name inserted on the birth certificate, the individual refused. Even up to now, it's last year, I took it upon myself to get the extract, take it to to the place that it is do the birth certificate, and
Right.
that's along with the paternity test, and that is when I finally got my name
You got it
inserted
inserted.
in the birth certificate. Yeah, so it took 6 years for
Right.
that to happen.
Wow. So I mean, and
Right?
it shows testament that you want to validate fatherhood. So it shows that you want to be involved because many men in the circumstance you just described may have said, well, hey, that is not my child, I go on. Or even if paternity is proven, may have just made the child a monthly installment, pay maintenance, and go on. But the fact that you wanted to validate fatherhood, it means that you wanted to be involved in the child's life.
Well, my name not being on the birth certificate puts my daughter at a disadvantage.
I
In
understand.
many ways. I mean, you having your both parents' name on your birth certificate allows you to use both last names.
Right.
Regardless of where you come from, and or even biblically,
Right.
the male is the seed, right?
Correct.
So people would always ask, who is your father, right?
Right.
So my daughter has she also has some other things that she's entitled to, and she's unable
Correct.
to access those things because of the fact that the name was not on the birth certificate. So
Right.
I
I
was
understand.
trying to rectify those things before, in the event that I could have an untimely death, right? I wanted to make sure and rectify those
Correct.
things ahead of time. So 7 years and still counting. I just this evening I left from by my lawyer because we are still in the process of now trying to see if we can do an appeal because
Mm,
I got completely run over, so to speak.
mm.
And before the trial even starts, before we was even given a trial date, I mean there was many indications from the master that you know basically whatever children's authority say, that is what the court is going to swing with. Nothing else really matters.
But let me, let me
Um,
let me take you back a little further than that because I know your story. I want to go
mm,
back before we involve Children Authority when you had your fears of what you thought happened, right? I want to go
mm,
back to when the custody order was made. Back in the days, I think it said it went before Mr. Prince in Tobago. I
right.
wanted to talk about what type of access and custody arrangements were made back in those days.
Well, I believe that I am one of the most fortunate fathers to be able to
Hmm,
get a 7 day a week access to my daughter was granted by that magistrate based on the fact that he the information that and the evidence that was presented to him proved that I have been involved in the child's life on a daily basis every day,
right.
right? So he didn't want to break that cycle with the child. So he granted me an unusual access order that gave me access 7 days a week to the child.
And just to stop there, that I had a similar thing with my son 6 months ago. And it is so sad to hear judges and magistrates because I the same thing they told me. Because of that, getting to see him every other day was my scenario when he was 6 months. And they said that my order is an unusual order. So it's
Right.
strange that you encourage as a society that men should step up and be involved. But when you give orders that give men proper access to their children, you deem it as unusual.
Well,
I just chuck in my 2 cents there, but continue. Sorry about that.
well, it seems to be unusual.
It
It's
is
unusual for men to get access to their children, but it's not unusual for them to pay monies, right?
correctly so.
So, so after that, we had another matter that came up where we had a new magistrate, and this was Magistrate Dabadine or something like that. His name was,
Right,
and at the end of that matter, he said that he would continue that access order because he
right,
didn't the child he said these words is what he said. He said, Mr. Koshi, nobody have to tell me that you are involved in this child's life all the time. I see you with your daughter all the time, and I
Right.
wouldn't want to break that cycle with your daughter. So I'm going to continue that order.
Well
And it's
said.
only
Around what age you think your daughter was with the continuation? How old do you think she would have been by then?
well, I would say, let me count back between
24.
2024. That order was only broken in 2019 when we went before a female when
Magistrate. A master.
master. When we went in front of a female master was the only time that order was broken.
Okay, so about 4 to 5 years. So you had her,
Yeah,
she's
about
about
five. She
seven
was
now.
about
So up till
5 days.
about 3 years old, you had
Now,
7 days access.
not after 3 years old. From
Older.
the first time, yeah. So until she was about 5, going on 6,
Okay,
because
okay, okay.
yeah, because it's only 2019 that order was broken,
Okay, okay,
right?
okay. Right.
And where I was reduced to um Tuesday, Wednesday, and every other weekend.
Right.
Tuesday, Friday, and every other weekend.
Mm.
Right.
Similar to what I got that too.
Right. So my daughter wasn't used to that, and luckily, um, based on the other parents depending on me to do everything and being the babysitter and being the father and being the parent,
Mm.
even though the order was changed, um, as long as the other parent wasn't upset with me, then that could continue because it was convenient for
Right.
them, right? So, um, yeah, well, here we are today, where I had to apply for custody of my daughter because, Naturi, that is on the phone. Give me a minute, please. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Naturi, please, give me a minute, right? When I finish, I will come and talk to you, right?
All
Um,
right.
right. So, my daughter had everything kind of piled up, and based on the pile up, is what caused me to end up filing for custody of the child because
Right.
my
You
daughter
said
is
some
not.
things happened that you was so we could go
Right.
into that part. What
All right.
what spurred you to go for custody? What spurred you to take action? Tell us what
Right.
happened.
So, a few things happened. There was me and my daughter is very close, so she would have spoken to me about different um, things that would have happened in the home.
Yeah.
She would have had marks, unexplained marks on her body, and when I asked, I would get a different story than what my daughter is telling me took place.
Right.
Um, there was um, there was some strange behavior by my daughter that was
Yeah.
unexplainable. Where, as every time you're putting her to bed, she would and you sing rockabye baby, she would scream and tremble and start to cry.
So
And
anytime you sang the song Rockabye Baby, she would
right,
scream and tremble and start to cry.
right. And
Right.
she was about 4 going on 5 at that time.
Right.
And took her to child protection unit.
Right.
I just had to put it out there. I mean, every report that I've made, I've never gotten a receipt,
Hmm.
a citizen receipt from the station, and I can't. It's clear now that I cannot get any receipt or any help in Tobago from police or children's authority because
So
of the
that is the child
connections.
protection unit in Tobago you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, that is impossible, and I've already drawn that conclusion already. So I spoke to one officer when the officer interviewed the child, and they realized that the information I provided them was accurate. They sent me to see a gentleman who deals with children and child psychology. He
Right.
When I reported that to him, he examined the child. He tested the very said thing that I said to him. He saw
Right.
the same reaction from the child, and he requested me to have the child checked by a doctor, uh, children's doctor, pediatrician, and I did that. And the
So when
and
you
the
went,
same thing.
so when you went to the psychologist, after the referral of the TTPS, he
Right.
would have, just as I said before, sang Rockabye Baby to the child, and the child started crying again. And he
Right.
decided to say, well, here what? Go do a medical examination of the child.
Right.
All right,
Well, it's
continue.
not just he didn't just sing. He spoke with the child. He interacted with the
Yeah.
child. He did whatever test ladies do, right?
Right, right, right,
And
right, right.
at the end of his conclusion, he felt like it was necessary to have the child checked medically.
Right,
And so I went to the doctor. I followed that instruction. The doctor checked the child medically, and then after that, now she did her report, and nothing never came out of it. I mean, provided that information to police, nothing ever came out of it. The other
right,
incident that happened after that was my daughter would have reported to her babysitter that the driver tried to touch her inappropriately by her private parts and exposed
right.
himself. And, you know,
And
she
you
told me,
made a report of that. You when your daughter told the babysitter that, the
right.
babysitter came to you and
She,
informed
yeah,
you.
she came to me. She asked the child the same questions, and when the child repeated that, I put my phone on record and we asked the child the questions again.
Right,
Then the stepmother at the time,
right,
um, and I informed her. She
right,
spoke with the child, and the child repeated the same thing to her. So I
right.
informed the mother, and when I informed the mother tried to deny those things and say that it's not true.
Hmm.
And then, but even though she said it's not true, she removed the driver.
You changed the
She
driver. Hmm.
yeah, she removed the driver. Might I add, the driver is a friend of ours.
Hmm.
After she removed the driver, she said that she was going to deal with it. I said, "How are you going to deal with it?" She said she will make a report. But
Right,
that report, I was naive in believing that she would have actually done that. When I learned that she didn't do that, I made the report.
right,
And it's funny that even when we're in court now, and the question and the topic was brought up in court, the judge, my lawyer asked her if she ever made a report, and she said
right,
no, she never made a report because she don't believe that is a make-up story. And then,
wow,
but funny enough, she told me she made a report, and she told Children's Authority she made a report, and this is all now in evidence. Children's Authority was interviewed and
hmm,
asked, when did you ask her about the sexual touching allegation? She said yes. And she said the next question was, what was her response? Children's Authority said that she told me that she did indeed make a report concerning it. So the testimonies was different. The mother in testimony said that she never told Children's Authority that she made a report,
right.
but Children's Authority and myself, our information that she said that she did
Right.
coincide together.
I
So,
understand. But what I'm saying is this. So you're telling
mm,
me that let me separate the case so people to have a better understanding. All right? So
yeah,
during the duration of the custody matter that you brought up, right?
hmm
You would have had information, thought out making a report based on what your child told the babysitter. Then your child repeated to you that you recorded what your child then repeated to your partner that point in time. You
right,
made a report after you realized the mother said that she was going to and never did. Did
right.
they give you a police receipt for that report you made?
No,
She was never
I
issued a police receipt then.
I can never get one. Yes, yesterday I spoke to
When I
I
sent you to
spoke
go and get a police receipt.
yeah, I
Yeah.
spoke to the sergeant, and when I
Mhm.
spoke to the sergeant yesterday, I had to let him know at the police station. I had to let him know. I said, sir, every single time that I come in here and every
Mm.
report that I've made, I've either been met with badgering
Mm.
because of who the family of the mother is, and
Mm.
so forth. Been met with badgering, and no assistance, no help whatsoever, or and have never gotten a receipt. So when me and the stepmother at the time realized that we're not going to get anywhere in Tobago at all, we reached out to go to Trinidad to try to see Claire Allen Guy, who heads the child
Yeah.
protection unit.
Guy Allen, she was the head of the.
Right,
She was the head of the.
right, right. So we tried to reach out to her
So you met
to
with Miss
have
Guy Allen. Did you ever meet with her?
we never got to meet with her, but we spoke to our secretary. We explained the situation, and the secretary made a call to Barataria police station, spoke with somebody there, and told us to go down there and lodge the report. When we got down there,
Right.
The child protection unit there, when we took a statement, they gave us the police report slip. They put in the information in the computer. So we had to tell them, this is the first time that we have ever seen police move so diligent and do all these things. We didn't even know all these things are supposed to happen. And they said, what? So you never got a receipt? I said, no, we never get a receipt. So even after Children's Authority, Child Protection Unit in Tobago interviewed the child concerning the said allegation, it's 2.5 going on 3 years now. No interview, no investigation, nothing has been done. Nothing. Like when I say nothing.
So this is amazing to me, because I'm gonna tell you what the first thing that amazes me, Manny. The first thing that amazes me, that in court she gives evidence in the presence of a judge that she said that she was going to do well, the evidence between you and her was suggesting that she said that she was going to make a report, and she never did. That in itself is something that you could be prosecuted for. Because if your child comes to you and says that they have been assaulted by an individual, or the person exposes themselves to them or attempts to touch them, the parents have a duty of care over the child and should report to the nearest police station. Doesn't have to be a child protection unit. The police has bantered itself, saying that we have an open door policy. You could walk into any police station, make a report, get a receipt, and then they could refer you to the specified area.
Well, sir, I fought yesterday. It took me several hours, and because of you letting me push them yesterday is the only time I got a receipt, and I didn't even get a receipt from the station I went to. I had to go to a different station to get a receipt.
You see what I mean? And that is not good enough. And I remember you telling me you're not getting it. And imagine I had to tell Manny, when you go in the station, tell them that Rondell Fields from the Single Fathers Association wants the receipt. And he still encountered hours of sitting there to get the receipt. Listen to what this man has for the last years been trying to get Children Authority to investigate. This young child came to her babysitter, who is a female, I believe, who would have then
babysitter is a female,
done the right thing, gone to the parent. The father would have reached out to the mother, who promised to treat with the scenario. What she did is fire the driver, but the friend, if he said he's a friend or whatever, failed to go and make a report of such a grievous nature. And now, when the father brought this up in the midst of the matter, which is a custody hearing, now I want you to give me that part of the story, Manny, because now, if you have this evidence, if you have a police receipt, if you go straight to Trinidad and they take a report and they lodge it, has any investigation from Children Authority after they took the receipt in CPU? Has there been an investigation from that day? Forget all the days before. From the days when the receipt was given to you in Barataria and a report was lodged, has there been an investigation by the CPU and an investigation by Children Authority into the allegations made by your daughter?
Sadly, sir, no. Still, all that happened is that they finally took a statement from the babysitter, and nothing to this date still has not happened to the point that I filed something official last year with police complaints, who is now trying to investigate them. And just earlier this week, I spoke to the person at police complaints to get an update as to where they've reached. And his response was, they have yet to give them anything conclusive as to whether they plan to investigate. But the length of time that all this has been lingering, being pushed under the dust anyways, to do an investigation now anyways, there's 3 years later, or almost 3 years later, and nobody has been interviewed, investigated, nothing, no conclusion that it's unfounded, nothing of the sort, because this came up in court as to what was the conclusion, and nobody could give the conclusion as to if there was an active investigation and if they came up with a conclusion.
So based on that, well, here why I saying too. So this order was made still by the master, knowing that historically, because I come in for the master too, because historically, the master knew it was not a strange position for you to have that amount of access to the child. A matter was brought up where you said, hey, here what's going on. This child is at risk and is at danger. There's a current investigation that you are trying to have happen by the Children Authority and Child Protection Unit. And the magistrate or the master left the access the same thing?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, as I tell you, sir, this sister in Tobago, depending on who you are, is how things would swing. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. So even when we brought it to the master's attention, that Children's Authority purposely left out a medical report, right? That would that same medical report that I told you about, and the same report from the child psychologist.
Right.
They left that out purposely, even though they were informed. And everything that I'm telling you here, I have documents to prove that. I have the doctor's medical, I have the psychologist report. I also have all the messages to Children's Authority, the agent, informing them of all these things, and them admitting in court that they didn't know how to obtain the medical.
How you mean? In this day and age, with all this technological advancement?
Listen, the doctor's office is 4 miles away from Children's Authority's office, and they said that they didn't know. A 15-year social worker did not know how to obtain a medical, did not even mention the medical in the report.
Wow.
Right? So, I mean, Children's Authority has really, really failed my daughter, and I'm guessing that they failed many, many children along the way. Also as Child Protection Unit, because even as recent as 2 months ago, while the child was in school, the child came to school with her hand swelled up and bruised up, and her leg. And when asked what happened, she said she mother beat she, and she hands were swelled up more than that, and she mother was putting ice and thing on it because it happened over the weekend. So that is to tell you, it happened over the weekend, and the child come to school on Monday, and the marks and all that was still visible. Spoke to the child. I took a video recording, took pictures in front of the teacher, went to Children's Authority again.
Is it that the teacher notified you of the hand, or you noticed it for yourself?
The child would have told me, but they could see it. It was visible, right?
Okay.
And so I took the child to Children's Authority. Then I went and I took her to the hospital, to the health center. Children's Authority questioned the child. The child repeated the same story. That is the mother who did that to her. The doctor questioned the child repeated the same story. They examined the child, took their notes and so forth. I went to child protection unit. They took our statement and they asked me for the child. I said, well, the child is in the school right now, which is literally like, if I had to say, maybe at 2 miles from the police station. The police station is on Chauvin Road, and the child goes to St. Patrick's. So that's really, really close for anybody who don't know. So I told the officer, I said, well, the child's in school, and you're welcome to go in the school and speak to the teacher and speak to the child for yourself. Well, that never took place. And so I asked Children's Authority, and I asked just yesterday when I was in the station, I asked the sergeant, I said, Sergeant, if somebody makes a complaint or coming to make a complaint against abuse, or say somebody abused them, and there's physical evidence to prove that this abuse is happening, wouldn't it be normal procedure to take evidence via photos, or test samples or whatever, right?
Right.
He said yes. I said, so ask your officer if she have photos of this child's marks of the abuse, because I have the medical report that reports the abuse, but no pictures was taken by the doctor, no pictures was taken by Child Protection Unit, and no pictures was taken by Children's Authority. So they had no, I asked him yesterday, I said, so all they had no intentions of investigating then.
So Manny, it seems like what, and I'm not saying what you're inferring, because I mean, it's sounding loud and clear to me, and you have, I mean, clearly you have the evidence of what you're saying. You went to
I have the doctor's report, I have the photos.
Correct. So, I'm talking about the other part. I mean, you're showing that there's continued possibly physical abuse. But I'm sure I'm going to the point of even 3 years ago, where there's a great possibility that this child may have been sexually abused. The delay in between may have caused us now to never be able to have her tested to know if she was ever sexually assaulted, because the expiry is up to 44.
Let me tell you, the report indicated some redness and stuff, but it did not. It stated that the hymen is intact. Right. And there may not have been penetration. But that it was possible that there could be some fondling still. Right? There was nothing to rule out that there was fondling because of the redness in the area and stuff.
Good. So even if there was no interference in the vaginal area, based on what the child said, where the gentleman allegedly exposed himself to her, and touched her and fondled her, as you say, that should raise serious concern so with the mother, just as concerned as you were. Whether that is she friend, that is she brother, that is she sister, it makes no difference. That is thing that it have not even family. It should make a difference with, because that is your child, and it is your duty to protect your child from anybody that will harm them. And that is even in an instance, a father protecting the child from the mother, and the mother protecting the child from the father.
Mr. Fields, let me give the biggest part, the biggest joke in the whole thing is that the Children's Authority, in their wisdom, and they completely bashed me, but in their report, they made sure that anything that was bad, to include that in the report, but anything that was bad concerning the mother, they did not include it. So, for example, the mother tried to commit suicide on 2 separate occasions. The slashes on the wrist are there. That was questioned and brought up in court. And the Children's Authority would have said, when we asked, did you investigate the slashing on the wrist, and what was the conclusion of that? They did not investigate it because she said that she didn't want to offend the mother, or didn't want to, create any kind of bad feelings. Right?
So they have to be able to ascertain historically if the mother is in strong mind. If the mother herself was raped or something.
Well, let me tell you, the court ordered while this trial was going on, the court had ordered for us to have a psychological evaluation done. And in that and that psychological evaluation was never presented. So we don't know the end results of that.
So was it done?
And that was not
Was
used
the
as part of the
psychological evaluation
decision-making
done?
process.
Was the psychological evaluation ever done?
It was done, but it was not given to us the end results, and it was not used as part of the decision-making process.
They said so. Because it could be that the magistrate might have read it herself and gleaned from it. I don't know if your lawyer requested it be part of the evidence for you all to get to see it. Because I know sometimes the psychologists, even with the psychologists report sometimes with the children, they sometimes don't reveal it to the parents because they don't want the parents to have bad blood towards the child if the child says something. In the case with her, I'm not certain if that may have happened.
All right. Well,
but whether or not.
So we have that, and then we have the mother. We have the school report. The principal and the teacher of the school gave a sworn affidavit, explaining to the court and to Children's Authority. This was lodged with Children's Authority that the mother is not actively involved in the child's school life or knows what's taking place, and
and the principal and the teacher swore affidavit to that as testimony.
Yeah, and again, everything that I am saying, I have documents. I have the documents in my possession to present to anybody who wants to see them.
Wow,
right?
That's an amazing thing. I know you're running out of time here, Manny. I had to get to one more voice note still, but I definitely will reach out to Children's Authority. The reason why you see I just take the things that Children's Authority and Child Protection Unit do so closely to my heart is because I was on that committee that was appointed by the past Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa to roll them out. The Child Protection Unit and the Children's Authority were ruled out by that Child Protection Task Force that I was a member of. And that is why I take it to heart so much, because what we visualize on paper, we need to be able to see that taking place in our local society. Because things like this, it may mean that we've just shut the door on a young girl who may have been sexually assaulted, and if we don't do anything about it, she may take this into her life, into her from her adolescence into her teenage years, from teenager into adult woman, and it may wreck her life that nobody did anything. So I commend you for keeping up the fight, for keeping up the persistence, for standing with your daughter, and she will recognize that and she will be grateful in time to come. So definitely I will reach out to them this week to have some understanding. What you need to do is to send your name and the mother's name so that I could have an idea, the child's name, so I could forward it to them and have an idea as to what is the matter with this case.
I was fortunate to speak to the CEO earlier this week, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Very good. And what was the CEO's take on this?
And I gave him some information. I gave him some of these informations that I asked him. My request to him was, Mr. Cyrus, I said, Mr. Cyrus, here's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to launch an independent investigation on all the information I'm getting. I left some information at your office, and what I would like is an independent investigation of Tobago office. Nobody in Tobago office cannot be involved because it has already been corrupted, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do or say or the information you provide. You know what it says, not what you know is what you could prove. And even with evidence, they have still, even with evidence, still nothing. So imagine in the final report, they reported, Children's Authority reported in their wisdom that the child did say that the mother is the one who beat her like that. But 3 days later, the child changed her answer. And I'm saying to the sergeant yesterday, I said, well, let me pick sense out of nonsense. If it is you have to continuously go back home to your abuser and you say what happened now, and then 3 days later you change the story, but the story is consistent across the board. It was consistent with the doctor, it was consistent with everybody, and it's in the doctor's report. It must change because, I mean, if the child living in fear, right? I told Children's Authority, I said, listen, if you question, how could you question a child in the same vicinity or room or house where the abuser is and expect that child to tell you the truth about what is taking place?
Wow.
That's
So,
impossible. I mean, but if you question the child, if you question that child in front of her father or in the same room with her father or even in the same house with her father, she knows that I would not allow anybody to do anything to she. So she knows that she could be straight and she could be honest without fear.
And I take your point on that specifically, and we would have expected that the Children Authority had the skill required to do those type of investigation. And based on what you're saying, I take your point. And I mean, it's so strange because in other circumstances, the very same set of officers from that special victim unit understand that there are even women or even men who being abused at homes, but in the presence of their abuser, in order to save the abuser, they would lie.
Of course.
And they most times are physically of the same stature of that person. Imagine a child who is so much smaller in stature.
Exactly.
So I definitely will look into this. As I say, if I had to get in contact with the CEO himself pertaining to the matter, I'm glad that you already did. It shows that you are relentless and you're not giving up on finding out what has took place with your daughter. And we will, just as with Mr. Weeks, we will continue to stay in contact. We'll continue to work on the matter, and then we will update going forward.
Well, so, I know we run out of time and all of that, but I mean, the rabbit hole goes deeper than what we have the time to tell people or for everyone to know. But note that everything that I'm saying, I have physical documents and pictures and all the text messages, voice notes, everything to prove everything that I'm saying to you.
And
so
that
the
is
school reports,
because
I have the school reports, I have the doctor's reports, the psychologist reports, I have the photos, the medicals, everything.
Wow. And
yet still,
things costed
even with all of that,
money too.
Yeah, even with all of that, it didn't matter.
Well, we will make it matter. That is the thing. We will have to make it matter now. So, most definitely, Manny, thanks for being with us. As I said, we will stay in contact, gather the evidence of the things that you say you have, and I will definitely reach out to the CEO because that is very troubling of what you're saying. I'm glad, and from day one, from the time you started speaking to me, I say hearsay is inadmissible in a court of law. Provide evidence, and I know you have the evidence to provide. So, enjoy your weekend. As I said, we'll be in contact. And let's see how the week goes forward, right?
6 days
Manny,
later.
thanks for being with us.
Thank you, brother.
Mark, you think we have time for the second voice note before we go, or do you think we put it off to next week?
Put it off till next week because we have the news standing by.
Okay, great. So Trinidad and Tobago, once again, next week we'll get to that next voice note. If you guys are sending me voice notes during the week or sending any of the outreach officers, we definitely will answer it on our next program next week as well. Thanks for being with us. Thanks, Mark, for giving us the extra 3 minutes. Enjoy the weekend, Trinidad and Tobago. Stay safe. Love you guys. Rondell Field signing out. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week again. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Rondell. Very interesting program. Join us next Friday for another edition of the Single File